Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Heather Leigh, for those of you who don't know me. Before I get started, I know today's topic is called, actually, let me bring in, I have someone else joining me, and he just joined us. So, hello, Brian. I'm just doing some quick introductions.
No worries.
For those of you who don't know me, I have been in the paranormal field for more than 30 years, researching, investigating, and anything you can think of associated with that. And I wanted to start my own paranormal podcast. It was supposed to just be audio, but I decided to make it a 2-hour video show. So it's kind of turned into a vodcast. Today's topic is going to be, oh, hello, Jessica. Thank you for joining us. Today's topic is going to be paranormal tourism, but it's not going to be what you think it is. It's going to be a slideshow, so you guys can take screenshots, take notes, do whatever you guys want to do, and ask questions at the end. Both Brian and I will be here. But before we get started, I'm going to let Brian introduce himself real quick.
Thank you, Heather. Hello, everyone. My name is Brian. I am a member of the Warren Legacy Foundation for Paranormal Research. And I have also been a paranormal investigator for going on almost 13 years. I operated and founded my own team in Las Vegas for a few years, and I currently live here in Florida, working aside with Heather.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know me, I forgot to mention earlier that I am a member of the regional of the Warren Foundation as well. I'm the regional director of the Northeast, as well as their chief administrative officer and a member of their board. So before I get started, again, like I said, feel free to ask any questions you guys have. And one thing I want to mention is paranormal tourism, which you guys will notice as I go through the slideshow, is often a touchy subject among people. You have paranormal researchers who say, no, don't do it. And that's mostly just because of the urban exploration that you guys have. There's paranormal investigators out there that have ruined it for others. But if done properly, I personally feel that you could do paranormal tourism, and I will explain in the slideshow the proper ways to do it. So let's get started real quick. Okay. Real quick, I know Brian's going to recognize this site.
I do.
This is from the Goldfield Cemetery when we were filming our documentary, or my documentary that I was in with Motion Picture Videos, Real Haunts 3, or Real Haunts Ghost Towns and Real Haunts 3, which I will talk about later on. Okay. So what is paranormal tourism? Paranormal tourism is a special section of traditional tourism. This one is mostly defined because the travelers have a desire to learn more about the haunted area of a location or the haunted history of a location. Paranormal tourists tend to visit popular haunted locations, stay in haunted hotels, experience and take the paranormal tours, seek out the most haunted communities in the world as a vacation destination. There's a lot of controversy over paranormal tourism, but by definition, this type of tourism can be exciting, educational, and enjoyable. And as I mentioned earlier, you just have to make sure you do it properly. Okay, what is urban exploration? Basically, this is also often considered paranormal tourism, but it's very different. This is a form of tourism that involves exploring man-made structures, and they're abandoned, run down, as you can see in the photo here. And no, I did not take this photo. I pulled it off of Canva, so it is not one that I took or did on my own. But many people go to get photos like this to explore the place, conduct paranormal investigations, but they also do dark practices, black magic rituals, and everything is fine as long as you know what you're doing. But a lot of these people who do this, why it's considered tourism, is they don't know what they're doing. And we need to be careful. Common places experienced or explored include hospitals, abandoned mines, which is very dangerous, amusement parks, schools, asylums, just basically any abandoned location. You also have factories, and even subway tunnels have been explored. Why is it not recommended? Because it can be very dangerous, both physically and psychically, especially if you encounter something you're not prepared to encounter. You can expose yourself to toxins, especially black mold in some of these old locations, and it's illegal. It's considered breaking and entering and trespassing, and even some countries consider this a form of domestic terrorism. And you could also damage the site and its historical value. Urban exploration is not recommended to learn more about the paranormal or experience paranormal tourism and haunted locations. And thank you everyone for joining us. I'm excited. This is our first one that I'm doing, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. Okay. How does paranormal tourism differ from urban exploration? They're both considered paranormal tourism, but there are significant differences between the two. When done correctly, by definition, paranormal tourism should be experienced through tour groups, events, or visiting historical sites that are open to the public during public operating hours. Paranormal tourism is for those looking for more information about local urban legends, paranormal activity, and the area's history. Urban exploration essentially involves visiting these abandoned places that are not open to the public and often without permission. Many paranormal urban explorers do this to antagonize the spirits rather than learn more about a location. Urban exploration is illegal and often considered trespassing. Paranormal tourism is conducted in a safe and monitored environment, while urban exploration can be hazardous, paranormally and physically. Urban exploration is not the best method to learn about the paranormal. Okay, so why is it not recommended? I know we touched on this a little bit, but essentially any form of paranormal tourism, especially urban exploration, is not recommended for many reasons. First, it can be dangerous, especially if you're not trained to investigate or not with someone who can show you the proper way to learn about the paranormal and conduct an investigation. If you're unfamiliar with the handling of supernatural entities, you could put yourself at risk of obsession, oppression, possession, and physical attacks. Additionally, if you are going to abandoned locations, they are very often remote and common places for others to be mischievous. You'll find drug dealers, just other people who are out looking for trouble. So make sure when you go, like I said, I don't recommend you going, but never go unsupervised or alone, because you never know who you can run into, either living or dead. And finally, going alone to abandoned places put yourselves at risk of falling, getting injured, or more, because these places are falling apart. Okay, how paranormal tourism can harm the field. There are many ways that it can harm the field. Oh, and homeless. You're right, Philip. You never know who you're going to run into. It's considered a legal activity. So basically, when someone views the paranormal field, they see these people on YouTube breaking into buildings, causing harm, causing damage, acting recklessly. And even though it's a small percentage of people, they think everyone in the paranormal field does this. So they view the field as conducting illegal activity. And many of these people that do this don't care if they trespass or if they care if they damage the place. Several conduct dark practices, dabbling in things that they have no experience in or should not be dealing with. Participate in other illegal practices such as drug use, underage drinking, and so on. Can cause damage or vandalism to the location. Many have removed objects without permission, which is theft. And a lot of people act unethically. A tour or event groups are not reputable. So if you do take a group tour, find a group that's ethical. And then ego tends to get in the way, and it causes a lot of tension between groups over territory disputes. And that's mostly not sharing their locations, being territorial over their haunted research locations, and it can cause fights and disappointment. Okay, and then final note, when you're taking a guided tour, when you're not taking a guided tour, you usually, the simple rule to live by, and I know for those of you who followed us on the Warren Files, is if you don't have a reason to be there, if you're not helping the living or the dead, you really shouldn't be there, essentially. Okay, so how can paranormal tourism help the field? There are many ways that this can help us, and the number one way is that it gives us recognition, especially if it's done properly. It helps bring awareness to the field. It helps share the history and preserve historic stories passed along. It brings money to historical places to help preserve the site. It shows people the correct way to conduct paranormal investigations. It helps educate others about the field of research and provides a safe place where people who are curious about the paranormal can do it without getting harmed or causing more damage. Okay. Is there a safe way to experience paranormal activity? And of course there is. Join a reputable paranormal investigation group, take a guided tour, go to a location you have permission to be at and make sure you get that in writing. Never go alone, never antagonize the spirits, be respectful and show the spirits you care and are not there to cause problems. And if in doubt, just stay home. Okay. And one question I get all the time is, what if I don't want to join a team or become a paranormal investigator? You can still experience paranormal activity or the haunted history of locations easily. You can find a paranormal event such as Flumery Promotions. They are very reputable. I know the owner. Great group of people, great group of hosts. They have everyone from the ghost hunters to a whole bunch of other paranormal celebrities that do events. So I would suggest looking them up. Attend a paranormal convention hosted by a reputable company. And if you guys have any questions, I'm not going to call out any companies, but you can feel free to message me and I can let you know if, from what I know, we all have different opinions, which groups are reputable and which conventions you should be going to. I can offer my suggestions. Take a local ghost tour, again, from a reputable company. And with the local ghost tours, the best thing to do is to take a tour that's hosted by the owner of the property. So if you find, sorry, I thought I turned my phone off. So if you find a haunted building or, let's just say old hotel that's no longer operational, but the owner offers ghost tours, they're more reputable as far as the ghost tours to that location because they're there to make money for their site. If you have an outside company renting the place and doing a paranormal event, be a little bit more cautious about the group because a lot of people have been burned, especially owners of these historical sites, because they come in with other intentions. So just make sure you know what you're doing and what you're getting into before you go. Continue to research and read about the paranormal. There's plenty of videos and podcasts that you can do, but again, always be careful of who you watch. Okay, so now we are up to the question section. I know it's today. I'm excited to have as many viewers as we have. So thank you guys for joining us. But if you have any questions about anything paranormal or anything that we talked about, feel free to ask. Brian, did you have anything to add?
I probably have a lot to add, but
I'm sure you do.
Where to even begin really is one thing I like to add when it comes to doing tours, going on a ghost tour and stuff is to really help even educate yourself better is to do your research beforehand before you go on to these tours, because a lot of these locations will, as some of them do, because there's one in Vegas that does false advertising. They give out false information. So really do your research on the locations. Like if you Google like a tour that you're going to take and they tell you the places that they're going to go to, try to do your research behind those locations before you go on. I mean, you could go on the tour. I'm not saying, pull the tour guide over and say, hey, you're giving false information. I mean, some people do that. Some people don't. I probably wouldn't advise it. I would just go in with your own knowledge and your information, do your history before going on these tours, because the last thing you want is to be led astray and get false information when you go on these tours. It's happened to me before.
But that's the fun part.
Yeah.
Is to call them out on their misinformation.
Yeah. Yep.
But the tough part on that one, just to get on there, is you don't want to sound like a know-it-all. And that's the hardest part with this field, just to kind of go off topic, is I hear it a lot from some people, and I guess it's maybe because I've been researching the field so long. I know more than most people, but it's like I always try to add and give them additional information. And then I get attitude back like, how do you know that? Or why do you know that?
Why you're on the topic of that is you can be a paranormal researcher and not an investigator. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And say that you know, I'm not going to say everything, but you know a lot about the paranormal field. There is a difference of being a researcher and an investigator. Researcher, you just sit behind a computer, you watch documentaries, you read books when you research the field. Whereas being an investigator, you're physically out in the field investigating. And I've met some people who are just researchers and like to think that they know more. What I like to tell people is it's okay to do your research, but you're not going to know what you're researching until you physically experience it for yourself. Have an experience. Like when I first joined this field, I had my first experience in 2009, and I wanted to know what it was that I experienced. So I looked up a local group. I went on an investigation with them. I joined the team. I did my research. 13 years later, here I am. More knowledgeable is the word I'm going to use than I was 13 years ago about this field.
Yeah, it's always a learning process.
Yes, it is.
So Anne Marie Young wants to know why not to go alone. So for that one, I just want to say it's a bunch of different reasons. One,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to go alone because if you go urban exploration or do something to a vacant site, you could get hurt and no one can come help you because no one knows you're there. You can run into someone that might not have good intentions. Also, when it comes to investigating the paranormal, you want to have someone with you because, again, you could get hurt. And also, you want to have someone to verify your information. If you have an experience, you want to have someone there that experienced it with you. And I don't know if Brian has any other ideas or suggestions regarding that.
I think you nailed it. It's
This is going to be a short show.
It, yeah.
Okay, Philip says he's heard that a popular location where the activity has really subsided, that they're opening spirit circles and conjuring spirits. Have you heard of this too? I haven't heard of that. I don't know if you have. I know there's one location in Goldfield where the activity had subsided, but then it picked back up and was more negative because they had people breaking in and doing not so nice things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So but as far as I'm not sure. Philip, you're gonna have to message me and tell me what location that is so I can look more into it.
That's the thing about these locations of people breaking in is there's a house that was in Vegas. They tore it down now years ago, and if anyone used to live in Vegas or does, then you would know this house that I'm about to mention. It's called House 666. I refer to it as Hell House. It is on Pecos and Sunset, opposite of Casa de Shenandoah, where Wayne Newton used to live. House sat vacant there for many years. I guess it was built in '96, had three separate owners, and every time they had a construction company come in and try to build this house, every construction company ran out the door. No one wanted to set foot in that home. Homeless people would go in there, and they accused the Hells Angels of kidnapping, raping, and sacrificing a 14-year-old girl. They found makeshift Ouija boards. They did satanic rituals and all that stuff. And going into a place that someone, let's say, owns, and they do a lot of the paranormal tourism there. The last thing you want to do is go into this place, break in, and start doing satanic rituals or things that you're not supposed to be doing. Then on top of it, ruins it for everybody else that's worked so hard in this field to eventually get to that point in time to where they finally get that chance to investigate it, and that those people have ruined it for that team to get the chance to investigate it because now they're bringing something in or doing something that they're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are locations that will allow you to go in and investigate, but make sure you get permission before you go. Don't just assume, X, Y, and Z team went and investigated last week, so I can go this week.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can't. Oh, and then this is from Philip. Philip, if you want to join us, I can bring you on board. I know we have ghost education after this, but if you want to join us, message me and I'll bring you on board. He said also, when you pay to investigate a location, make sure you respect the wishes of the owners of the location by not provoking the spirits or Ouija boards. Not all owners want those brought into their location.
Mm-mm.
And the same thing goes with investigations. If you're helping a client, don't bring a Ouija board unless they want to, unless they let you. And that's just, I personally don't use one. Some people do, but I find that there's a lot of opportunity to contaminate evidence
Mm-hmm.
because, same thing with a pendulum. You got to find a stand to hold it on. But no matter what method you plan to use, make sure it's okay. Even tell them what you're going to be doing, because not all owners of buildings know what a paranormal investigation entails.
Mm-mm.
Let them know you're going to be talking to the spirits. Let them know, that Philip doesn't want to join us.
No.
He says he looks like he's been attacked by a demon.
I
Well, maybe
want to
next
say
time,
something,
Philip.
but I'm gonna leave it alone. I'll message him about it.
But yeah, just make sure that they understand exactly what you're going to be doing, because if they were to hang out with you or be in another room and hear you talking to the spirits, they might come in and be like, "What are you doing?" Because they might not realize that that's what is a part of it.
I had a similar incident happen when I first started the old team back in Vegas, when I first started the field, and we were doing a training session, and it was supposed to be the whole team, but only 3 of us were able to go. So we were doing a training session at Green Valley Park, and we had our equipment sitting on the bench in the back of the park by the telephone tower, and we had a cop car come up from the street into the grass up to us, and had asked us what we were doing, why we were there so late at night, which was only like 9, 10 o'clock at night. And he basically was actually looking for someone that I guess was trying to break into homes. And the officer had looked at all of our equipment and wanted to know what it was. So we explained him what the equipment was, and he said, "Okay, have a nice night," and that was it.
Yeah, not everybody. I mean, we always like to assume that everybody knows what we're doing because we do it every day.
Yeah.
But not everybody does, and not everybody watches the ghost shows.
I even got mistaken for a private investigator. I actually was supposed to be a client. I was messaging. It was before I moved out here to Florida. They had, I guess, things going on in their home, but it wasn't paranormal. Obviously, I guess this gentleman's boyfriend he wanted to know if he was cheating on him or something, and I'm like, I asked him questions when it came to the paranormal, and he would say yes, but then he kept going on to more of the into other areas, and I'm like, are you looking for a paranormal investigator or a private investigator? So make sure that people don't get the two mixed up, because it happened to me once.
Yeah. But there are private investigators who are paranormal investigators, which helps the field immensely.
Yes.
It's great. But getting back to the parks, parks can be a great place to start learning how to investigate the paranormal. But again, don't go alone, especially if you're going at night. Be careful of what parks you go to. Make sure you're aware. Also know the park's operating hours. There's several parks that close at dusk. And then also, one thing that I need to find it, and maybe I can share it here, but I wrote a blog post about it a while back, is you want to make sure that the park you're investigating, when you do investigate it, if you during the day, if you go during the day, stay away from families or other people, because they might not take too kindly to you being there or doing what you're doing. So just kind of, great place to learn, but not a popular place when it comes to other people who don't understand what we're doing.
I agree.
Sorry, I'm reading a. I guess I. Okay. Oh, yeah. He was, Philip was, I was trying to read it and I was reading it wrong. But he had said that this is mostly about public locations, or not about public locations, and that have had private home investigations where they didn't even want them to use a spirit box. The homeowner was afraid it might be bring something in, so they didn't do it. So just make sure you educate people, but don't push the topic. And then also, again, that goes back to just kind of ask, can I do a spirit box session? Can I do this? Can I do that? Yes, we need to work on that more with everybody. We need to explain what we do, because not everybody, and that's why I wanted to talk about this topic, because everybody thinks of us as the ghost adventures, where we go out to these other locations. They think everybody in the field is like that, or they see on YouTube. There was one video, I don't know if Brent told you about it, but he had people, they actually videotaped themselves in Nelson stepping over the no trespassing sign.
I've seen that before.
And posted it on YouTube. So you have groups like that intentionally and publicly violate. And they're the ones who give us the bad rap, which is why we need to explain what we do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And again, with permission, some cemeteries will let you do investigations at night. So make sure and that you alert the police that you will be there and that you have permission from the owner, and make sure you get that in writing.
Yep.
So, well, anything else you want to add, Brian? I at least want to make this last an hour.
Okay. An hour.
So feel free to ask any questions.
Yeah.
I feel kind of awkward because this is, like I had said, I was hoping this was going to be a radio podcast, but the schedule with the podcast platform didn't quite work out. And because I'm only available Wednesdays. So I decided to turn it into a 2-hour vodcast. But the first couple ones are going to be probably an hour long, just until we get more interaction and more people watching. Okay. And I do want to thank real quick the Paranormal United Network, also known as Parallax. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Courtney. But we cross post on that as well, so you can find us on there. Okay. Nope, now we have questions coming in. Okay, table tipping. What are your thoughts on that, Brian? I know what my thoughts are.
You know what? To be honest, I will go ahead and admit, because we don't know everything in this field, so I'm not too familiar with table tipping. I'm open to learning, though.
I love table tipping, but again, it opens it up to human error or human contamination, because you might know that you're not moving the table, but your other people in the room could be moving the table. Great way to communicate. I've seen several videos. In fact, my instructor at the Institute of Metaphysical and Humanistic Studies conducted several of these. And when you do them, you want to make sure that you answer questions, and kind of similar to any other thing, you want to show them how to do it. So say, move your table like towards, Joe, or move it towards, Tom, kind of like, and introduce everybody so the spirit knows who they are. And in order to do it, just put your fingertips on it. So that way it's known. It's harder to push the table with force. And you can use it as, similar to anything else, similar to a pendulum, similar to a, not to say it, but a Ouija board, planchette. Yeah. You can use it, similar to anything. You can even use it to answer yes and no questions. But make sure that if you're videotaping it, that the entire table can be seen. The legs all the way down to the floor. You want to make sure that the video shows everything, so no one can say that there was someone pushing or pulling the table.
Interesting. Have to try that sometime. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use a metal one and put baby powder on
it. Cheater.
I'm sorry.
I love this field personally, and I'm sure Brian does too. But I can agree with Jessica. This is a very neat field, and there's always something to learn.
Yep, all the time.
So.
Yep, it's like I tell people, it's a big mystery. It's a big giant puzzle waiting to be solved, and will it ever? Who knows? Mm-hmm. Who knows? maybe even after you pass, and in the afterlife, you never know. You might have all the answers, or even then, they're still, trying to understand how the field works, how
Mhm.
life itself works.
Right. Yep. And getting back to the table tipping, Philip said, I hope this isn't a joke because it's one of those, it's hard to tell, Philip, sometimes with you. But they have a lot of dummies books. So Table Tipping for Dummies on Amazon is a great book for beginners. So
They even
as
have
long as
ghost
that,
dummies for dummies.
yeah. Don't get me started on that one.
Okay, I'll leave it.
I couldn't finish that book. That book inspired me to write my own.
because
But
because of who wrote the book, right?
no, just I couldn't get it. Was just awful. That's all I gotta say. It doesn't matter who writes it. It was awful. There's been several books in this field that I haven't been able to finish. And it's one of those, I tried to return it on Amazon, but I had it too long. But getting back, Jerry, table tipping, I think, like I had said, it's a great way to communicate with the spirits. And it's something, Brian, I'll definitely have to show you how to do it one day.
Absolutely.
But it works perfect in, I know my instructor, Dr. Douglas Kelly, they used to do it in historic sites up in the, I want to say St. Petersburg area. And they would actually use the table that belonged to the house. So there was a lot more historical things to do with that. Okay. Yep. And I agree with this. When it comes time to help keep the field reputable, you want to make sure you clean up the location before we leave. I love that idea. Bring your own trash bags, paper towels, and even toilet paper just to be courteous.
Yep.
They're inviting you to their location.
Yep. Okay. Agree.
John Huntington wants to know, I'm hoping this is for us. It's hard to tell on the StreamYard app. But where are you from? I'll let Brian start.
Originally, I'm from Chicago. I moved to Vegas in 95, 96. But right now, I'm currently in right outside of Tampa, Florida.
Okay, and this is scary, but I was raised just outside of Chicago, about 2 hours outside, and then moved to Florida, where I lived for many, many years. I was in the Orlando, Vero Beach, and just north of Tampa. And now I'm back in the Lakeland area. But for the last 7 years, I did live out in Las Vegas. And that's where Brian and I met.
Yep.
Okay.
It seems like no matter wherever Heather goes, she can't seem to get rid of me.
I'm trying. That's why I keep moving.
Except for when I moved to Missouri for like a year or two.
I know. And you notice that's when I joined your team?
Yep, it is. Yep.
Philip says table tipping is more along the lines of a seance, and that is exactly what the word I was looking for.
Okay.
So just trying to get through the comments here because I had stopped it for a while. Philip says it's a real book, and you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Talia says she learns something new every day.
And always do.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, we're caught up on comments again. So anything you want to share regarding investigating, or because we can move past the paranormal tourism? That was just something to get the show started.
Oh, wow. Well, see, my last investigation I did was with you. The McCall School of Mines in Henderson, Nevada. Mm-hmm. I have not done anything since then, but if we're going to go with investigations, I'd probably say two of my all-time favorites was Goldfield and Waverly Hills.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I know, Heather, you're dying to go to the Goldfield Hotel. No, I thought you were. No. Aww. Not anymore.
No. I don't know. It seems neat, but the last time I was there and standing outside, I didn't pick up on anything.
It's me personally. It's worth it to go check it out. Mm-hmm. It's cool. Investigate it. At least you get a chance to. Other than that, some people are just. Even myself are just. I love the town. Love it to death. Just you gotta move on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. In Nevada, my favorite places were the Florence Mine up in Goldfield, which you didn't get to go do. Sorry.
No, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
And in Nelson.
Nelson's
So
cool.
we didn't do the actual Nelson mine that they do the tours for,
Hmm.
but they gave us permission to investigate another mine just down the road.
Okay. Never got the
So,
chance to investigate Nelson, but I've been up
yeah.
there a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but,
Trying to remember the name of that house that I went to in Utah.
so someone's talking about Waverly Hills because I didn't get to go on that one. Share your and I have investigated the East Coast, John. I'll get into that in just a minute, but I saw your Waverly comment, and I know Brian was there not too long ago.
Yeah, I was there in August, just about 2 years ago, I believe it was. There for 2 nights, and Waverly was very interesting. The first night it was quiet, not a lot of activity. But the second night that we were there, the activity picked up. I think because the spirits were kind of getting used to who we are and why we were there. They were kind of like shy, keeping their distance. And then when we were there the second night, it really picked up. We were there for 8 hours both nights, but it was very interesting, a lot of fun. Definitely not a place you would want to do by yourself, and because you never know, you can fall down the stairs and get hurt, and not know where you're going, even if you have a flashlight. But the place was amazing. Heather, I wish you could have gone with you. I think would have fell in love with the place.
I wasn't allowed to travel at the time.
Yeah, no. Eventually, I want to go back. I really, really do. I want to go back again and be able to get the chance to investigate it. It was definitely hands down one of the coolest and just amazing places. Pictures don't do it justice. When you pull in and you're just standing there, it's looking at it's breathtaking. It's definitely the largest building I've ever investigated, and one of the coolest.
Yeah, and as far as the East Coast, I've investigated Gettysburg. I have where else have I been? St. Augustine Lighthouse, but not on an actual investigation. But I did one of their ghost tours that they were hosting many, many years ago. Several locations and private residences along the East Coast, and an undisclosed location in Orlando, just because we were working and probably not supposed to do what we did. So but we were bored and curious. So
as we're sitting here talking about things you should and should not do, Heather.
This was 20 plus years ago, and it was more of a Q&A session that we had. So yeah, Philip said he got some good EVPs from the lighthouse.
And this is the St. Augustine Lighthouse.
St. Augustine Lighthouse. Yep.
I've yet to go there.
We need to go there.
Yes.
We need to go there in the Casa Dega.
Okay.
And drama about Waverly Hills. I've heard about it, but I don't know exactly what's going on. Do you know?
I do a very little bit. So from my understanding, from what I know, is the people that own the building, the historical society, want to take back everything from the owners. I've seen pictures and stuff, and it does look like they're doing some remodeling. But I guess there's some drama between the historical society and the owners. Do I know all full details? I don't. I just know that there is some drama right now. I don't know if that's preventing people from going. I have no idea. But all I know is that there is some, but I don't know full details. From what I was being told is that the historical society is going to basically run it into the ground. The owners want to take it and turn it into a bed and breakfast. And the historical society wants to take that away and basically just, it doesn't make any sense to me, but again, I don't know the full details.
Yeah. And with things like that, we don't always know the full details.
No, I just know what I heard, and that's it. If I could be wrong, hey, I'm wrong, but I don't know.
Okay. John says he lived in the Conjuring house for a year, and it was very interesting. I've never been there. Have you, Brian?
I have not.
Okay. And if you want to know more about the Conjuring house, shameless plug, watch the Warren Files on opposite Wednesdays from this show and Ghost Education. I don't know exactly when it'll be, but Chris McKinnell, the grandson of Ed and Lorraine Warren, will be joining me to discuss the Conjuring cases, and then also comparing the Conjuring case with the different movies, all three of the movies. So we'll be talking about that and how they differ. Okay. Yeah, I agree, Jerry. That would be really nice, a bed and breakfast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I heard that I was in Goldfield for my first Goldfield days. I think this was 2018. I think it was. I can't remember. And there was this lady in front of me, and they were talking about the restoration of the high school and how she wanted to turn it into a bed and breakfast. And I'm just like, why would you?
See, I think that would be great.
I was thinking more of a museum. That's what I would have done. Yeah, I would have turned it into what it once was, and then let everyone be able to get that opportunity to experience what it was like to go to school at that time in the 1900s.
Yeah. Goldfield needs. It's one of those things where I wish I had money, but Goldfield needs a lot of work.
Yes,
and it's. I get it that it's a ghost town, but it could be such a nice little community and tourist place if they would just fix the hotel, open it back up, like you said, do a museum, have a bed and breakfast, and make it, you don't want to make it look nice and shiny, but freshen it up a little bit. Because when I was there, the stores, even inside the stores, I felt dirty. And it could have been because the Goldfield Emporium, it wasn't so much the Emporium section, but where they have the train museum behind it.
Yeah.
The roof was collapsing and there was water everywhere.
Oh boy.
And the poor Emporium was suffering from it. So I was like, oh.
I first stepped foot in that town in 2016. It is completely different from what it is now. It was just so much change over time. And if I had a choice, I would say the old Goldfield was a lot better. I mean, there was people constantly coming through that town, and then over the years it starts, downgrading, and not many people are going through, but they are supposed to be getting their first truck stop. So that should bring in more business and everything. And actually I was sent a message, and I saw the pictures, the Ish House. When you first pull into town, it's that Victorian style home that's on the left hand side. I called it Grandma's attic, but I guess one of the water pipes busted and flooded. So yeah, it needs a lot of work.
Yep. Yeah, they need just the whole town, and it's the residents love the town.
Oh God, yes.
So why they don't band together, to make it better? Because I know John Ulrich, the one who owns the Florence mine, he also owns several other properties in town, and he's doing a great job renovating it. In fact, I'm like dry, and I just wrote the chapter on it for my book. But the the former owner of the mine, before it was given to him, the house that he owned in downtown Goldfield, John has fully restored, and the Historical Society for the state of Nevada made it a historical landmark. And the Beard of Knowledge, Mark Hall Patton was there to do the dedication recently. So it was he's working really hard to make that better, but
good.
It's tough, but the two times I've been there, I was there less than a year apart from each other. And it wasn't the same. Granted, the first time I went, it was snowing and 20 degrees out, so we were shivering, but the energy there was far much higher than it was when we went to film the documentary later in the year.
Goldfield has always been my favorite town to go to. It was when I first stepped foot there, and every time I go up that hill after you see that Goldfield Summit sign, and you go up that hill, every single time I can feel the entire town's energy, just everything, and I just start to like, not shake, but just get like a kid in a candy store. I just get so excited, that I'm about to be in my home away from home, and I'm about to see all my friends and family that I've come to know over the years, and I can spend all day in there. I mean, I've spent a whole weekend in Goldfield and not worry about anything, and it's just when I'm there, I'm away from everything else. I don't worry about anything, and it's just over the years, it has unfortunately drastically changed in not a so good way. But I am hoping that over the years it can turn around for the better.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. My favorite, I know I talked about it earlier in the show, but my favorite place to go is Casadega. It's just, they have a haunted cemetery there, a haunted path out around the lake. It's a spiritualist camp. The hotel there is extremely hot. You think Goldfield Hotel is exciting to investigate? The Casadega Hotel is
Take
amazing.
me.
Well, we're working on something, so there may be an event there
Hey.
in the near future. So I'm waiting for the guy to get back to me to schedule it and plan it. And it might have some very, very interesting guests joining us.
I'm excited.
I know it's one of those things where I have so much going on, and I like everything's starting to fall into place, but I can't give details yet because it's not confirmed.
And that's fine. Don't give out details unless you know it's set in stone and it's gonna happen. So it just
right.
Yeah, don't put that energy out there. Just
I'm putting it out there to get everybody excited because it's like I keep telling people,
there's no details.
There's a lot happening, and I'm just excited. I've had as many people on here tonight as I have. Thank you, Greg, for joining us. Yep, he says hi to both of us, just so you can say hi back.
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
If you're just joining us, we're just kind of chatting back and forth, but I did do a presentation on paranormal tourism, the good, the bad, and the ugly about it. So I will put that up on my YouTube tomorrow, so you can do that, and I will share it on my page as well, so you guys can find that if you missed the beginning of this, or just watch the replay when it resets once we're done. Jerry, I'm not sure, are you meaning Goldfield on Indian Burial Grounds, or are you talking about, because I know there was some talk in the chat about Conjuring House. So I don't know about Goldfield. I don't know about the Conjuring House either.
I'm sure at one point that it was on Native American grounds. I know that it was very big for the mining in the Western era. But I mean, if there were cowboys and Indians going through there at some point in time, and I'm sure, honestly, anything can really be on Indian burial grounds. They were here way before any of us were. Mm-hmm. I mean, it could have been a small portion of time. It's possible, but as far as records showing that it is or was, I don't know of any.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I'm not 100% sure. Oh, the Conjuring House grounds. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. So, but like Brian said, it's a good possibility. But yeah, wasn't a case I followed too closely. But like I had said, Chris McKinnell can tell you a lot more about it than I can. Okay. Well, anything else before we? I guess we'll make today's episode a 1 hour show just because of being the first show. My goal is 2 hours, but I know people can get bored after 2 hours too, so who knows. But did you have anything else or anything on your mind that you want to chat about? I'm sure I'll have you on again, just so I'm not sitting here talking to myself.
Well, it's an honor to be a part of this. I've always wanted to do something like this. I like to help and educate other people. I think that's kind of more so what I have found in this field rather than actually going out and investigating. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love to go out and investigate. I have a really bad itch to wanting to go and do that right now. Just waiting on you, Heather. I don't know any places out here. I just moved here. I don't know any places.
I've been I lived here for 25 years before I moved to Vegas. So
I don't know any places out here.
We need to go to Key West.
Key West, yeah, I'd love to go to Key West.
I'll
Um,
introduce you to Robert.
oh, is that where he is Key
Robert
West?
the doll? Yeah.
Oh, you got me all excited now that I moved here to Florida. No, I got to give the honors to Annabelle first. Annabelle is waiting for that one.
Yeah, but she doesn't let people come visit.
Uh, I'll talk to
Or
Robert.
her keeper doesn't let people come visit.
But no, I like to help and educate others. That's one of the biggest things about this field is to help and educate. So that way, when you have teams that go out there, or more so newbies to the field who want to become a paranormal investigator, like you were explaining a little earlier, your do's and your don'ts, and the difference of the urban places and the tourism, and really educate yourself, because in this field you may think you know something, but then it can change.
Mhm.
Uh, um, just definitely really do your research. You can sit and watch documentaries and read books and watch the shows, or don't watch the shows. Uh,
I watch them for ideas on what not to do. No.
yeah, see, I'll sit there and I'll watch it, and I'll just like shake my head like, why are you? Never mind, I don't even want to get into it.
There have been times where I'm like, hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
done right, that's a good idea.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
My
Philip says
thing. Go ahead.
Annabelle will come visit you in your dreams.
Thank you, Philip. My thing is during the intro of Ghost Adventures, one thing that has always caught my attention, and I've been to this place twice, is have you watched the episode of, and I can't remember what had happened in the episode, but have you seen the episode of Bobby Mackey's?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I actually interviewed the guy that was in that with him. Bishop
Matt.
Long. No, wasn't Bishop Long and Bobby Mackey's too?
Bishop, James Bishop, yep. Bishop James Long. I'm sorry, Bishop James Long was there at Bobby Mackey's. Wonderful guy, super nice guy. I've talked to him a couple times. Such a humble, friendly, very knowledgeable person. But I want to know is what intrigued me was when they were at Bobby Mackey's. Why did Aaron run away? Because I've always been intrigued as to why he ran away. And Zach told, or no, it was Nick ran away, and Zach was telling him stop running. What was he running from? His own shadow?
I don't know. I just figured it was in the script.
That one part is always intriguing. Like, what is he running from? I kind of want to know. I want to go back and investigate again.
Right. I almost want to ask Nick. Just outright ask him. What happened. But
I would ask him first before I ask anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, stay away. I mean, me personally, I tell people to stay away from the shows. I mean, it's up to you. If you want to watch them, that's fine. But
Philip says he always enjoys watching people on the shows walking around holding a natural tri-field meter. He's like, don't do it. That's one thing that always amazed me is even the K2 meters. Set them down and walk away.
yeah, I've had the knack of walking around and carrying them with me, but I agree. I wouldn't do it because you're giving off energy. When you're walking around with it, your body itself is putting off that energy. So how do you know that if there's either something standing in front of you or if it's your own energy affecting the meter?
Right. Yep. Well, hi, Wild Bill, and hi, Courtney. Thank you for joining us tonight. And this actually reminded me of something. And it's funny because Brent, I don't know if he shared the story or not before either, but we were investigating our usual go-to place out in Vegas. And he had his K2 meter. And even though he set it down and we walked away, it kept flashing weird. And even during the investigation, you can hear him on my digital voice recorder saying, I don't speak Morse code. What are you trying to tell us? Because that's what it looked like. It was flashing like it was Morse code. And then when he got home, he realized he had generic batteries in the device. And that was giving off its own electromagnetic energy. And so
Bad
make
reading.
sure you use
All
shield
reading.
batteries when you're using any type of paranormal equipment.
Yeah. All batteries work differently. They don't all work the same.
Yep. But yeah, I found that because we're both thinking it's, I'm like getting ready to look up Morse code to try to figure out what this thing is saying. And then he got home and he messaged me and he told me, I was like, oh.
Is there even such a thing? Paranormal or spirits?
But who knows? I mean, these
Spirit Morse
spirits don't
code.
know this equipment,
Yeah.
chances are they don't know. So well, since some new people are hopping on, I guess we'll continue this going. I'll share, I have two amazing EVPs. So I will ask you first, what was the best EVP you've ever caught?
Wow, let's see. The best one I caught. Got a couple of them. The best one I would say, and would be my favorite, would be from Waverly Hills. It was our first night. It was me and a couple investigators. We were walking down into the first place we went was the tunnel, the body chute, and we were walking. And the next thing was like the windows and stuff. And later on, that I think it was about a week later, I had a friend come over, and she brought her laptop and everything, and she pulled up her program, and she was helping us analyze some of our evidence and stuff, because we had some evidence that was kind of like, I want another opinion, someone that wasn't there. I want their opinion, and I'm glad we did it, because what I thought was it was asking where one of my investigators was. I thought it was saying, "Where's Brandy?" the whole time. Well, when she analyzed it, it actually says it's raining. And sure enough, it was actually raining as we were walking down to the tunnel. It was raining that night. So
Yep.
I gotta say that was probably my favorite one.
Yep. And then also one thing just to share, when you guys share EVPs, make sure you don't tell the other person what you think you've heard. Let them figure it out and see if you guys hear the same thing. If you hear the same thing, then that's what's there. That's always.
I agree.
And I know I need to find the video again, but Chris sent me a video a while ago, and it's a woman speaking, and words go across the screen, and you hear what you're reading. Then a few seconds later, they loop the video part of it, but put different words on the screen, and you hear the words you see on the screen. So same video, just two different things that you hear because of what you're reading. So make sure you're not told ahead of time. I always tell people when they say this is no, I'm like, stop. But anyway, the best EVP I've caught, actually I caught one I'm going to talk about real quick, because I'm still not sure what it is. But we were again at our favorite location in the same spot with the Morse code incident. And it just so happened to have a display of dinosaurs. And we have an EVP of what sounds, I don't know what a pterodactyl sounds like, but if you knew what a pterodactyl sounded like, this is what you would expect it to sound like. Came on the recorder. I've had people tell me, well, it was someone's stomach. Well, no, the recorder was 10 feet away from me and nobody was around it. Well, a chair is being moved. Nope, no chairs in the room. And it was over us. And if, someone had made a noise, we would have documented it. We would have said, so-and-so moved or so-and-so did this, and nothing. So that's more of an intriguing, interesting one. But my favorite one is we were at a location. I'm sorry for all the undisclosed locations, but a lot of places in Vegas don't want people to know they're haunted.
Nope.
So we were doing this, and it was a common place where it was believed that Tupac haunted, or at least visited a lot. And we were walking through, and I had my camcorder just rolling from room to room. And someone in my group had said, wouldn't it be cool if we had made contact with Tupac when we get home and analyze the audio? 2 seconds later, we get an "I'm right here." Clear as day. No digitizing it, no editing it, no enhancing it, no nothing. Clear as day, I'm right here.
I think that's cool, considering the location is not too far from where he was shot and killed.
Exactly. So it's one of those where it's like, oh, if that was really him.
That would be cool.
It was just
Can you sign this?
I'll go back and do that. Jerry says the best one he caught was in his house. A little girl named Penny telling me to go to my room to go to sleep.
Nico. Bossy little thing.
I know.
Bossy ghost. Go to bed.
Yep, getting back to the EVPs I was talking about and not knowing what's going on. Wild Bill says that your brain can play tricks on you.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. 100%.
Okay, up. Judy from Hoosier Paranormal says she was at Waverly Hills Class A EVP, male voice saying, "Go away."
Judy, where were you in at Waverly when you caught that EVP? Do you remember?
So, Judy, when I see your comment, I'll make sure I pull that up.
I'm wondering if it was the third floor.
Okay. Philip says this brings up a question. Editing EVPs, some say you should do nothing to them at all. I think it is okay to raise the volume up and slow it down. I've never changed the pitch. I have removed noises on occasion, but I post an EVP. I will be the post of original and the enhanced. Okay. What are your thoughts on that first? Because I have mine just because I've taken an extensive course on EVPs.
I'm probably going to say the same thing that you taught me that I had no idea about, is you always want to keep a copy of your original. And if you're going to do editing to it, don't do as much editing because you could eventually. That's what I'm saying. Keep a copy of your original, because if you edit the original copy too much, you screw the whole thing up.
Mm-hmm. No, and I took an EVP certification class, and one thing that we were taught was that always save. I mean, I learned that the hard way too because I lost a whole file, and it was like
fun.
It was killing me because it had some good evidence on there.
I'll be right back, Heather.
Okay, no problem. And basically, you want to, I slow it down as well because you never know what you can hear because sometimes they talk real fast. I talk fast, so slowing me down sometimes helps people to understand what I'm saying. You can raise the volume, not a problem. Another thing you can do, again, noise reduction. But one thing that I was taught that is if you think you hear something, and the teacher who was teaching the class that I took shared an example, and oh my God, I could not believe it. But if you actually play the clip in reverse, I know it sounds weird, similar to playing a record in reverse. Sometimes things get transposed when they get EVP recorded. So make sure that, if you think you hear something, but you're not sure what it is, just try flipping it around and see if you hear anything. But I'm a big person on saying don't do too much editing, because if it's not obvious, chances are it's not paranormal and you're looking too hard. But it doesn't hurt to do a little bit of work here and there. Okay. Yep, I completely agree with this one, Greg. I do that a lot. With the Estes method, I do that mostly because I like not knowing what questions are being asked, because then there's not a possibility of my mind or transposing or putting, not transposing, but putting, projecting the answer onto the recorder. And it also doesn't give me any like skewed perception of it. So I'm not looking for, if a yes or no question was answered, you're looking for a yes or no or something like that. But it's a great way to do this without having any interference or any thought practices, because you're not knowing what's going on. Okay. Wild Bill says the best EVP he had was from an abandoned house, something telling them to get out. Judy says they were in the former kitchen on the first floor.
Okay.
At 2:30 a.m., they were the only ones on the first floor.
Okay.
Can you play reverse on Audacity? I believe you can, because that's the program I use. I'll have to figure it out.
I've never tried it. I have Audacity too.
Yeah, maybe for Ghost Education 101, we'll do a presentation on that, Philip. Okay, well, that was a quick to get caught up. So there was something else I was going to say that I was trying to remember, but now I can't think of it. Crap.
At least we made it over an hour.
I know. I'm shocked. I'm lucky we made this.
Sorry.
Okay, so I completely blanking on the question I had. So anyway,
Thank you.
Philip says the most sad EVP got was a man saying, "I'm nowhere." So, okay.
I think what else? Another good EVP I caught.
Yeah, Courtney says absolutely, and your mind can play tricks on you, and unintentionally hearing what you think you and what is there. There's a big difference in that, and that's the hard part about. That's one thing. I mean, getting on a different topic or same topic, similar, but paranormal field is very subjective. You know, we all have our own opinions. It's a field that you may see something in a photo and someone else doesn't see it, or you may, hear something and someone else doesn't hear it, or you hear something different. It's all what you're programmed to think or see already that can affect it as well.
Going back to what Bill had said about your mind playing tricks on you. Mm-hmm. Pareidolia, seeing faces in pictures or the in the clouds and stuff, that's pareidolia. A lot of people like to jump to the conclusion of, no, there's a face. There's a face.
You mean there's not bunnies in the clouds?
Probably not. I'm sorry. I wish there was, but no, it was not raining bunnies. But yeah, your mind can play tricks on you. When you're looking at something, you're looking at the picture, and you think you see a face, but there's really not a face. It's your mind playing tricks on you. That's what your eyes are seeing, but that's what your mind is telling you is there. When in reality, it's not.
Right. Yeah, it's a tough call, and it's I get sent photos all the time with the "What do you think of this?" And I'm not saying not to do it, because everyone can do what they want to do. But my suggestion is if you are going to send paranormal, if you're going to send a paranormal photo for someone to review, don't circle it, don't edit it, because I use View and I check the EXIF information, and that gives everything from the camera used to take the photo to the last time it was edited. It keeps track of everything. So if there's no EXIF information, I don't even bother analyzing it. If it shows that it's been edited, I tell the person I need the original, because you don't know what was edited. And then be careful of these apps. I know Brian's going to know where I'm going with this one too.
Yep, I am.
There is this famous little girl who has been spotted at Fox Ridge Park, at a hotel, and an office building in Las Vegas. Same little girl. And I did a quick image search, and she is found on the iPhone Ghost app. So make sure you double check, because those will look like they are not edited. And Brian's going to show you the one photo.
This is the photo that, what the heck was that? This is the photo that she's talking about.
Yep, there's a little girl there on the left-hand side. If you just moved her out of screen. There you go. And it is the exact same thing you find in that Ghost app. And that's, some people, I get it, they want to have fun, but make sure you know who you're getting the photos from before you. I always tell everybody, make sure you know the person you're getting it from is reputable before you share it all over social media, because the sharing of these fake photos is just causing our field more harm than good.
And I have a story to that photo, and the reason as to why I still have it is because of a personal experience. I did an investigation, Fox Ridge Park, and we were sitting down by the by the swing set where the little boy is supposedly said to haunt. And I got up, stretched my legs, and I had seen someone standing out in the distance down by the baseball field. So I kind of just stretched my legs, walked around, and walked towards, where I had seen that person. And I noticed that they started not running, but sprint walking really fast towards me. And I'm just like, okay. I turned around and started walking back towards the swing set. And I turn around and see that their pace had picked up. Now they're kind of running at me. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So I darted back to the swing set and got hopped over the fence and looked, and there was no one there. And it was very strange, because a few years later, I got invited to a memorial of a fellow paranormal investigator that had passed away, and got invited there, met some people, shared that story. But as before I shared that story, I happened to look over this gentleman's shoulder, and he was showing this picture that he caught on his cell phone. Okay. And when I saw the picture, my jaw dropped. I was in shock. Like, how does he have that picture? I don't even know who this guy is. I don't know how he got that picture, but the picture he's showing that I just showed everybody is the exact same thing that I physically saw at Fox Ridge Park. But until Heather years later told me that it's a fake photo.
Sorry.
But it's okay. It's okay. I still have it because of a personal experience. Even though the picture is fake, the personal experience that I had is a little bit more real too, because it's what I physically experienced. But even though, yes, the photo is fake.
No, I still have the fake photo because I share it with people to show them what not to do.
Yeah.
Actually, wasn't that year you sent me like a whole bunch of photos and I sent them all back as fake?
That one, yes. The others, I don't remember. I just remember
It's
that
like
one.
fake. No. Philip says that looks as real as his hair color. Okay, and this can happen a lot too, Greg. Like I said, it's subjective. He says he filmed a man in a cell at Mansfield Reformatory whose head was sticking out between the bars and his arms were hanging out between the bars. And our lead, my mentor, thought it was pareidolia. That happens a lot. I know there's photos that Brian has shown me that he swears is paranormal, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. But I'm the same way too. I've showed photos to people, and they're like, "Well, Heather, are you sure?"
There is one, and my opinion has changed because I think a lot of people, and I've shown this picture to people, and it's the little boy. We were just talking about this too. It's the picture of the little boy that's at the not Waverly. I'm sorry, Amityville Horror House, Amityville House. The little boy that's peering out from behind the door in the bedroom. I've shown before I even joined the foundation or even knew anything about that picture. I would show that to people, and they're like, "Oh no, that's fake." And then I actually thought it was, but after hearing the story and realizing it is 100% real.
That wasn't an Ed and Lorraine photo. That was a photo taken by the journalist who was with them.
Yep.
So that's not something they did.
Why is it that all these journalists and photographers capture real life, like real photos, and we're out here actually doing what we do and fake?
Because we're trying too hard.
Exactly.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you figured out the one that I did in Goldfield was fake, and it's not. Just to get back at me. That's a cool photo, though.
Did Brandy ever show you the picture of the little boy in the Goldfield Cemetery?
Yeah, that's the one that I sent back to you as fake because the pixels are different.
Yeah.
It looks great, and it would be. Yeah. I could see it happening because there's reports of a little boy, but when you blow it up and compare the pixels from the little boy, they don't match up to the pixels in the surrounding area.
Yep.
So unfortunately, yeah, that one I had to call out as a fake too.
Hey, I'm not the one that took it.
You're not the one who edited it.
No, I was there, but I didn't take it, nor did I see it.
Oh yeah, no. But yeah, no, there is that, because we were hoping to catch the little boy when we filmed the documentary there, but we got nothing. No, but yeah, and I'm trying to think. Yeah, one of these days, as soon as I get permission, I'm waiting for Real Haunts 3 to come out before I share my photo of the full-bodied apparition in that house.
I got one for you that we're going to talk about photos. And knowing me, I'm going to be the one to bring this up. When you're taking photos and taking videos and you see this ball flying around or in picture, it's not. 99% of the time, it's going to be dust or moisture or a smudge on your lens or a light reflection coming from somewhere. I thought that when it comes to orbs, it was paranormal, but honestly, I don't think most of the time. I don't think it's paranormal at all. Now,
Hmm.
unless you see it for yourself with your own eyes, then I'd be like, okay, because I've seen my first experience was an orb. That was my first experience. I've
Hmm.
seen him at Liberace's restaurant when he owned it.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry, when it was open.
Right.
But honestly, in pictures, nah, you need more solid proof than what's in the picture.
Yeah,
Um,
and you need to see a reflection.
yeah.
If the area around it is illuminated,
Hmm.
then the chance of it being a lighted thing is, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Sorry, I'm like,
There was a picture, and I wish I had it. This was back in 2010, and it was my second time investigating Carluccio's, which was Liberace's restaurant on
mhm.
Tropicana in Spencer. And we were it was mid during the investigation, and I was snapping photos while I was standing in front of this window, which of course you can't see out because it's all tinted and blackened, so you can't see out, people can't see in. And I was taking photos, and this one photo I caught really just it really caught my attention for a long time, and even the investigators that were there like, what is that? How did you capture this? Well, come to find out years later is that it was actually the reflection of the back of my shirt, because we had a
Mhm.
design on the back of our shirt that made it look like a face. It was like a face with the heart rate going through.
Mhm.
What happened is that when I took a picture and I had my flash, the flash reflected off of the window in front of me and shot off the window behind me, in which then threw up the image of what was on the back of my shirt into the
Mhm.
photo.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of things that can cause it. And it's funny. The other thing too is weather. Rain and
Yes.
snow can affect it because
Yep.
I, I hate saying this, but there's a book and someone had posted a photo of the location. I really don't want to give too much information because I really do respect this person as an author. She just needs to be a little bit more careful with her photos. But she was taking a photo of the location, and the caption said, "Check out all these orbs floating around the location." Well, I had just been in that location, and my photo matched hers exactly, and I took it during the snow. So whether they were orbs or not, I don't know, but it sure matched my photo with snow in the background.
I did a tour. This was my first tour of the Goldfield Hotel, and we were down in the basement, and we were walking around. We had our flashlights and stuff, walking around, and there was a group of ladies that were taking photos. They have flash and they're snapping photos, and as they're snapping photos, they're like, "Oh wow, look at all the orbs! Look at all the spirits that are here." And I'm just like, "You're kicking up dust. They're not spirits. It's just dust. That's what you're kicking up because you're walking around in dirt and an old dusty building." And they were hell bent on, no, it's spirits. And it's like, okay, that's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty here as it is, but you're kicking up dust.
Yep. Yeah, and even Philip says that when it comes to photos, he has a white figure that he photographed during a smoke scrying session. Which, if you guys haven't watched it, Philip does amazing work with water scrying and smoke scrying. He created the profile pic with an overlay.
I don't know what scrying is. I never heard of
Oh,
it until just now.
oh, well, water scrying. You'll have to watch the presentation, but Philip did a great presentation on it. But what he does is it's water, and he just kind of shakes it up and conducts an EVP session, and he takes photos and video, and he gets faces and a whole bunch of stuff in the water waves, and then also in the smoke. It's really interesting.
Huh. It's
Yeah,
wow. Seems pretty cool. I'll have to watch it
yeah,
sometime.
yep, yeah. He
Huh.
does a good job with that. Judy says she always takes her photos in a series of three and compares them. Exactly.
Yes, actually, I'm glad she said that, because if we're on the subject of taking photos, I highly recommend doing saturation photos. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically going in a room and taking pictures of all four corners from all four corners. Do it before, during, and after your investigation and compare photos.
Yep. And just to bring it up, if you're investigating a home that you know either was recently sold or is up for sale, try to find the realtor listing and look at all the photos, because we investigated a home and I came across the realtor listing. And when I looked in the photos, the reflection of the TV screen showed a couple standing in the background.
That'd be cool. I want to see that.
Oh, yeah. I thought I showed you that because that was the case I did with Brent, Brandy, and...
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, okay. I forgot about that one. You're right.
Yep. And she said that closet door, there was something odd about the closet door where they were standing next to. Greg, feel free to send it to hlandon, Landon, at warrenlegacy.com. I'll be more than happy to look at it. It'd be kind of interesting to see it. So, and I'll make sure that I pass it along to Brian, unless Brian wants to give out his email.
That's not a problem. Brian, Brian, Williamson, Williamson, 1990 at gmail.com. Sorry, I had to spell it out there. Some people get mixed up with names.
I have to do the same thing with my middle name because people want to spell it Lee. I love this, Philip. He learned to say that the orbs are demons just to make people happy. And you know, Philip, Chris doesn't want to hear that. That's not client care. Well, I'm surprised we made it as far as we did. So,
yeah.
But I am going to wrap this up since we've kind of slowed down on our questions again.
That's fine.
And completely got off topic, but that's okay. That's what these shows are all about.
Yeah, because there could be something that someone heard, and when they want to have a discussion on that certain topic,
right?
In a later episode,
right? It's like Chris and I will have a topic, like we had Annabelle a couple weeks ago, Annabelle and Amityville a couple weeks ago, and I think we talked for 10 minutes about those two cases, and we had so many other questions completely off topic. So that's why I like to start with the topic in case no one has any questions, but we're always here to answer. And Philip says, love and light. Have a good night, y'all. Well, Philip, I'm not going to bed yet because I got to host our show later. and since you look like a demon attacked you, I guess you won't be joining either, huh?
He's crying right now.
Yeah. Before I close out, just a few quick things. I'm going to bring this back up because, I lost my screen. There it is. Okay, a lot of people have been asking where to find me. You can find my paranormal team, Exploration, or my podcast, or vodcast now, Exploring the Paranormal, at Exploring the Paranormal Podcast. You can find my personal page where I post blogs and other videos at Dr. Heather Leigh. My team is Exploration Paranormal. And you can also find me at the Warren Legacy Foundation for Paranormal Research. I help Chris with his social media, so I'm the one you usually get when you message there. My team has also been featured in Real Haunts Ghost Towns and Real Haunts 3, which is coming soon. Ghosts of Southern Nevada Ghost Towns is coming out this summer. I actually sent my photos off to the publisher. I have a few more photos to send next week once I get them. And then my final copy goes out later this month. So keep your fingers crossed that stays on track. And you can also find me opposite weeks hosting the Warren Files with Chris McKinnell and other Warren Legacy Foundation members and our regional directors. And then later tonight, in about 40 minutes, I will be hosting Ghost Education 101, and I will be joined by the Apocalypse Project hosts. They are going to be talking about how to host a paranormal podcast. So I thought I had that on here for the...
Where's your Instagram and Twitter?
I don't have my Instagram or Twitter. I don't have Twitter, and I don't have I have Instagram, but it's not on here. But I have all these things that I had set up to do. Here we go. The Apocalypse Project, these guys are hysterical. They have had me on their show many times. Unfortunately, they got sick when they were supposed to come to McCall Mines with us because they're out of California.
Okay.
And but they're great guys, funny, hysterical. they've been running the Apocalypse Project, which is a podcast, not always talking about paranormal, but we are going to talk about hosting a paranormal podcast, how to do it. They're going to offer tips, tricks, and share some of their ups and down stories along their way of doing that. So we will be doing that at 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay, next week, January 12th, the Warren Files, I will be joined by Father Christian Montoya. He is the chief international exorcist, and I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on what order he's with, but he works with several of our other pastors and fathers and monsignors that we have in the foundation. So he's going to be doing a Q&A and answer any questions you guys might have about what he does. And then I am looking forward to 2 weeks from tonight on January 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern. I will be joined by Brandon Alvis to discuss his book, Elements of a Haunting. And I'm looking forward to that one. I don't know if Mustafa is joining us, but I know at least Brandon will be joining us for that one. So thank you again, everybody. Thank you for supporting my first show done. I'm actually excited that it's not a podcast because I actually like having visuals. I don't, I personally, I know some people like to just listen, but I like having visuals. So I'm liking this a lot more than I would of a podcast. And Greg, sorry, that's okay. Actually, I'll type it in the thing if Brian wants to give his email out again. He said his pen ran out. So mine's hlandon@warrenlegacy.com. And I've lost Brian.
Brian Williamson, 1990@gmail.com.
Okay. And again, thank you everybody for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned. I'm going to post the link on my Facebook page for the YouTube follow-up video so that way you guys can watch it there if you want to watch it again. So again, like I said, thank you for joining us, and I will see you soon. Thank you, Brian, for joining as well.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Okay, y'all have a great night.
Bye.